Let's take a look at OneNote. So click on OneNote here, and they're going to ask you if you're a teacher or student, so of course you want to answer that you're a teacher. And when you do that, it's going to set up your OneNote with an example of how some teachers use OneNote. And so if you'll notice back on that original screen there was the choice for student. I haven't clicked that one, but I assume they set it up with samples for student stuff. And then there's another one that says start a blank one. And so if you want to start fresh without these examples, go ahead and click underneath there, and it says create a blank OneNote or something like that. Okay, so this can be a little confusing when you first start to look at it. How do I navigate through the different pages and things like that? So let me tell you what you're looking at. Over here is a link to all of your notebooks. Right now there's just one notebook, and inside of that notebook there are 3 sections, and you can add more sections as needed. So there's learning activities, student examples, and resources. So these are the ones that were inserted automatically as examples. Within each section there are pages. So they're literally trying to simulate a notebook, right? So you've got maybe different tabs in your sections for the notebook, and then within each set of tabs there's a bunch of pages in there of related stuff. And under the hood it's just folders within folders really, but they're trying to follow this theme of notebooks. So on a page you can have text, you can have videos, you can have images, you can add little graphic, they call these tags, to highlight different elements of your list. So here's a tag, here's a tag. You can add checkboxes, you can put tables in. So here in this learning activities you've got several different examples, and so you can click through these and see they're kind of like lessons that a student could work their way through. And so you can see here's an overview of the lesson. Here are the goals from a student's perspective with kind of objective type statements here. They got little check boxes they can check as they go. They can type in the tables. As you scroll down, you can see images. On this geography one, they have actually a quiz, a pre-quiz here. And so they can. This is Microsoft's version of Forms, and so you can insert your own quizzes right inside the OneNote there. And so lots of different things you can put in there. You can also insert Sway documents, and Sway creates like web page type stories. And so this is great for showing steps on how to do something. And there's some like animated elements on here as things zoom in on the page and things like that. So we'll cover that in a little bit. You can also attach files that students could click and open and things like that. Okay, so one of the things that's really confusing right off the bat about OneNote is how do you create more notebooks? Like you have this notebook, but maybe you want to start a fresh one. And it's not at all obvious. There's nothing in these menus that allows you to do that. So what you need to do is a couple ways to do it. You can click here on this grid, and you can go to OneDrive, and think of that kind of like Microsoft's version of Google Drive. And there's a button there to create new things, and you can create a new OneNote notebook. You can also just click here. Let me get rid of that. You can click here on your name, and when you go there, you can click here and say new OneNote notebook. So I'm going to do that, and we'll call this one and I'll create that. And so this is a little cleaner because this is a fresh notebook. So I've got one section which is untitled, I've got one page which is untitled, and that's inside my notebook. You can see the title of the notebook is right up here, my first notebook. Okay, so I can title this, I can right click on this and choose rename, and we'll call this daily notes, and this section will be for me to just kind of take notes throughout the day of things that I want to keep track of. And this page I could say this is week 1. I can add text in here by just typing. I can add a table. I can add pictures. I can record audio. Okay, I'm gonna click record audio. The first time you do this, you have to give Chrome permission to access your microphone. So I'm gonna click record audio. Here's a quick note about the week. Don't forget to turn in your paperwork, etc. Okay, so click stop on the recording. It'll take a second before it's ready, but there it is. And so on my page here, I can click on this, and there's a little play button. quick note about the week. Don't forget to turn in your paperwork, etc. Okay, so that's the quickest way you could possibly take notes. Just record yourself speaking to your computer and you can save it in your note there. Okay, you can attach files. There you can attach forms, Microsoft Forms, which is similar to Google Forms. You probably could figure it out pretty easily by looking at that. There's stickers, which are kind of silly, but there's little things you can add here if you want to. Okay, under the drawing there, here is kind of a freehand way to take notes. And so you can grab the pen and you can draw with your mouse or touchpad. Okay, and so you can change the color of the text. And the thickness of the lines. So that could be useful for annotating an image. Maybe you upload a map and you want to highlight some things. You can just draw out some notes and arrows on what you want to cover there. Okay, I'm going to create a new page. And we'll call this one. In my week 2 notes here, I'm going to bring in a picture. Okay, there's a couple ways to add pictures here. I can go to Insert, and I can choose Picture, Online Pictures. And we can search for a picture. Okay, and then we've got a map of the counties of Washington. I can shrink that up. I can draw on it. Okay, and so that's one option. I can also insert pictures from your computer, so I could upload a picture if I wanted to. You can also pull them from a website, so I can go here and we'll take a look at Seahawks. I'll just right click on this and choose copy image. Go back here and use my keyboard shortcuts, Apple V. Okay, that's pretty big, so I can shrink that down also. And so adding pictures is pretty simple. Okay. So in terms of setting up notes, I can okay, and then I can tag these with little icons if I want to. So we'll go up here to okay, and those are just little graphical elements. They don't actually have a function. But when you're in the Home tab here, there's lots of controls for font size, alignment, numbered lists, etc., just like in Word or Google Docs. Okay, and then finally, if I want to share this page of notes, I can right-click on this, and I can say copy link to this page, and it's copied. And then I can go anywhere I want to and paste that in. You can also share your entire notebook by going to the share button up here. You can invite people with an email. You can choose to require a sign-in or not. You can get a link, and then you can decide what the link does. It allows people to view only or to edit, and that's within the organization that you're a part of, or no sign-in required, view only or edit. So those are probably the two that you would want to use here. And again, that's for the entire notebook. Okay, so that's it. There's lots of ways you could use that, from personal note-taking and scrapbooking and keeping track of things to setting up formatted, interesting information to share with others. And that is OneNote.